No one truly understands why map control is so essential. So let me explain it to you. In the very start of the round, your team decides to make a plan. Your plan is to rush the bomb site A. As you approach the A bomb site, you found out that there's 3 defenders already there waiting for you guys. And given that this scenario is in a solo queue environment, a lot of our teammates aren't probably using utility. They aren't really wanting to be the first one to push in because they don't want to die. And that's going to leave your team just sitting outside of A site, not really having anything else to do. And this is a lot of us in our ranked games. And then someone comes up with the genius idea of saying, hey, let's go C, there's 3 defenders here. Well, there's just one small problem with that plan. The only control to where you guaranteed safe passage is A short and A long, because you guys are already there. But what about the rest of the map? How can you expect for your team to be able to safely rotate from A over to C without losing their life? Answer is, you can't. And this is because you have no control other than A short and A long. This is essentially the basics of map control. Depending on the control you have within a map, you are able to safely move around that area freely without really worrying about risking your life because you guys have established your control on that area. Whenever you're playing Valorant, you always have to look at it like a game like chess. You're going to start from the very back end of the chessboard, but you have to move your way up. If you just decide to move your queen all the way to the front, then guess what? Your queen's going to die, therefore causing you to lose. Now, I want you guys to focus in on the example I just gave you of commonly rotating from A to C site, and I want you guys to think to yourselves, what is the most common action for an enemy to do whenever they see an A rush? Well, I can tell you right now, the majority of players will walk down mid, jumping into window, and putting themselves in a position to where they can easily take one of the lives of your fellow allies. Now, this death could have been simply avoided if you would have just had one person watching mid to prevent this from happening. Again, this is map control, guys. Now, you may argue that you can just clear these angles as you rotate with your team, but think about how much time that is going to take. How much time do you think you have until the enemy team is able to rotate over to C and basically beat you to the punch? So, it is always better to have at least 3 people on the main bomb site you want to put your funks on, and then the other 2 people scattered on the map, making sure that the enemy team isn't pushing out, taking map control away from you. Now, these 2 quote-unquote lurkers need to be smart. If they're just going about peeking stuff and just continuously moving forward without their team, then they're going to die. When this is your job, and your job is to be the lurker to make sure the defenders aren't taking away map control from you, you need to play safe. And all you have to do is just wait for the callouts that your team is going to provide you. They're either going to tell you to, hey, come to the bomb site, it's open, or hey, stay where you at because we need to rotate over you because there's too many defenders over here. And this will literally win you almost all of your attacking rounds. It's that simple. But what about defense? Well, it's kind of the same thing. If you're able to take map control on defense, you're going to make it a lot harder for the attackers to be able to execute their plan on a bomb site. This is why information gathering agents are so crucial, and this is why Silva is by far one of my favorite. So whenever you are defending, just make sure you gather some information as to where the attackers are planning on executing or where they're currently positioned, if they're playing default or if they're all huddled up outside of a certain bomb site. Once you have a good understanding as to how the attackers are positioning themselves, this allows you to creep up in the gaps they leave. So going back to our Haven example, if all 5 players on the attacking team are outside of A main and they're planning on attacking A, and you know this leaves the defenders defending C and garage to be able to push up and basically pinch the attacking team. We talk about this a lot in a Pearl guide, so make sure you check out that video as well. Now, it's important as a defender that you don't just recklessly push out and try to take map control without any information. If you have a Silva, Fade, KO, Sky, or any information gathering agent, make sure to use your utility to see if anyone is in a particular area. So if you have a KO on your team and you want to push outside garage, well, why don't you just knife mid? And that's literally going to tell you if it's safe whether or not to push out. Now, you cannot be afraid of notifying, oh my god, the attackers know we just knifed mid, they're going to think we're pushing mid. Because guys, at the end of the day, this is a first-person shooter game. You're going to have to engage in gunfights anyway. And as long as you're confident in your training and you know you can win the majority of your gunfights, then you should have no problem doing this. So all I have to say is don't be scared and just push the freak out. I'm going to make that my slogan, watch. But in all seriousness, guys, stick to this rule of thumb. Whenever you are attacking, never stack a site unless you have it 100% in your mind. No matter what the odds turn out to be, you guys are going to fully commit to the rush. Always have at least 1 to 2 lurkers just to make sure the defenders can't pinch you, and so that lurker can also help find openings from the cracks that the defensive team leaves. What I mean by this is if our Cypher is lurking mid as our entire team is planning on making noise and pushing A, our Cypher can kind of play timing here and could sneak up B, killing one of the defenders that are rotating over to A to assist their team. Or even if a defender is pushing down mid, the Cypher can kill that person, causing panic to the defenders. And the rule of thumb you want to stick to as a defender is if you notice that the entire attacking team keeps making noise on A main, and you have the capability of gathering info, whether or not if it's safe for you to push a particular area of the map, you need to do that every single round. You need to understand that the majority of players in ranked do not know how to play this game properly. And by you just implementing these small little strategies, you're literally going to outperform these people, and you're going to cause them to be very frustrated because they don't know how to combat it. So instead of relying on just brute forcing your aim in a lot of situations, think strategy. Map control takes a lot of positioning into consideration. If you don't understand what good positioning is, you're going to struggle with map control. So just make sure to study on whether you have good positioning or not, and you'll be a-okay. But that is all I have for you guys. I do want to make a more in-depth video about this because there are many more things to explore about map control. But till next time, it's been your boy Sondo301. Our coaching is soon to be released, and I will catch you guys in the next video.